Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing chess. I mean, that's the title of the puzzle, but it is Sudoku. I mean, it is a Sudoku channel. We haven't played anything else yet. I should at some point, but way too much fun with these Sudoku puzzles. Now, if you haven't guessed it, yes, it's a weekend. We should be returning to equality cages, shifted lines, shifted dots, and actually today we're going to be playing shifted lines. Now, with this title, you have probably guessed that we're also talking about chess lines, one of my absolute variant Sudoku rules. I know that a lot of you out there, you tend to favor fog. I would say knight or anti-knight, anti-king, and chess lines are probably my favorite. XVs would be also there up there, so quite a few would be my favorite, but I think these are absolutely amongst them. Anyhow, enough of all of this chit-chat. Let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule sets. So we have Shifted Lines 114, Chess by gUBBLOR. And just quick glance, 3 variants. So normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, every 3x3 box. Nothing unusual with this particular one as per norm. Then we have the shifted lines. So adjacent digits within the same box on a shifted line share both parity, as in even/odd, and polarity, as in low/high. And I'm just taking a look for an example in here. That won't help solve. So if this cell was a 2, this would have to be a 4, so it is both even and low. Whenever the line enters a new box, either the parity or the polarity shifts, never both. So this is low and even. I could have low and odd. That would be one valid option. I could have high and even. What I couldn't do is, obviously, not shift it at all. That doesn't work. I also couldn't shift both 7 and 9. So this would be 1, 3, 6, 8 in this particular case. And it's either 1, 3 or 6, 8, because obviously this side of the shifted line has to have both the same parity and polarity. Shifted lines can never have a 5 on it, and digits may repeat on lines. Okay. Kropki dots. A black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2:1 ratio, and not all dots are shown. So if this cell here was a 2, if I can actually write it, yeah, because I keep pressing C thinking it will write in a 2. This cell here, which is connected with a black Kropki dot, has to be in a 2:1 ratio. That could be 1, as in literally 2:1, or 4, 4:2. One cell is essentially double the other. Not all dots being shown, that 2 with a 4 next to it, no black dot, clearly this is double the other, that is not a problem. Last but not least is the chess lines. So all the shifter lines are also chess lines, and adjacent digits on a line must form a valid chess move by the indicated piece on the 3x3 numpad. Can I just quickly flash this up? It hasn't come up for me. See if I can fix that. That is definitely the wrong thing. Let's see. That is hopefully the right thing. Okay, kind of. Am I going to fix that? Yeah, I will. Sorry about this. The kind of things that I should have actually prepared before I started recording. Come on. Where am I? Let's see, is that as expected? Largely. And no. That's a bit better. And that's a bit better. Right, it's just, it needs to be visible, and I think I'm going to leave it up for the rest of this particular puzzle. Right, so let's continue with our 2 example in here. Essentially, on a chess line, you need to be able to show that the next digit along the line is a valid chess move away. So if that's a 2, a knight chess move would be a kind of an L shape, 2 down, 1 to the side. So that could be 7, or 2 down and the other side, that would be a 9. That's one example of the chess line. Now, helpfully, because actually what symbols you see is highly dependent on the font sizes that you have on your system. So to make it really clear, gUBBLOR actually listed what are all of the chess pieces in here. So these three, can I see any others, are knights. These three are bishops. These two are pawns. These two are rooks. These two are kings. And last but not least, this is a queen. And in the examples, and I'm not going to exhaust this, but he's given a few different ways of essentially what it would be considered a valid chess move. But just, one more to show off. So if this is a 2 and a bishop, that means that bishops are moving in diagonal. So the next one along could be a 4, or it could be a 6, for example. Being a shifted line, it wouldn't be a 4, it would be a 6. So that's all the rules we have for today. So the only thing left to say is, if you feel like giving this one a go, and I know I did kind of forewarn in the previous puzzle that given it's a Sunday evening puzzle, I'm going to try a more approachable one, but you can't blame me. Shifted lines and chess lines, how can I possibly pass on this? As always, link will be in the description down below for you to play. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, see how I get on. Right. Now, traditionally, oh, there you go. I was going to say, traditionally what I do is I always look at the black Kropki dots because they're the ones that sort of stand out. Everything essentially is shifter lines and chess lines, but we've got 2 black Kropki dots, and this one caught my attention, but we have 4 cells on a bishop line. Now, if you've not already determined that, the bishop, by its nature, well, essentially, because of the way it moves diagonally, will remain either always odd digits or always even digits. That's the only way it would be considered valid. Now, if this was odd, let's say this is 1, the next one along, well, it's either 5 or 9. The reality is it can't be a 5 because this is still a shifter line, so it's a 9. Well, I've just crossed into a different box, and from the 9, well, really, I can only get back to 1 or 5. And I've already placed the 1, and I can't be a 5 on a shifted line. So this is not going to be odd. This is going to be even. This is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8. Which means that this is going to be odd on a black Kropki dot. So this has to be 1 or 3. This would have to be 2 or 6. One more thing that I just want to quickly explain before we get too stuck into this, because I want to color at the same time. When you think about shifter lines, it's helpful to think around, like if I use letters for a second. So imagine even, even, odd. Did I want to do it this way around? No, odd, even, and then low and high. And think about the digit groups that this would create. 1, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 7, and 9. Now notice, whenever you're coming across a shifted line from one side of the box to the other, if you're odd and low, well, you can either be even and low, or you can be odd and high. You can't change both, and you can't stay the same. So quite helpful to think about shifted lines as being 2 colors, and every time you enter a new box, you shift colors. So if this was blue, this would be blue, then you enter into something that's red. So keep this in mind because I am going to use these for a bit. Now, if this is 2, this would have to be a 4. If this is 6, this would have to be an 8. And remember, it's still a bishop line, so we kind of established the direction that the bishop is moving in. So 2, 4, it would go on to 8 and then 6, or it would go 6, 8, and then on to 4, and then on to 2 again. So we end up with pairs in here. Right, if this is 1, 3, and time to color, this is red, therefore these are blue. I have 2 options, either it's 2, 4 or 7, 9. Oh, hang on, it's a king. Sorry, I forgot that. 1, 3, yeah, I can only get to 2 or 4. I can't, oh no, I can. If that's a 3, no, I can't. Here, let me show you. If that's a 3, I could get to 2 or 6, technically speaking, but remember, I am blue, because this is red. So I can't get to 7 or 9 from 1 or 3, which is the other blue digits. I can get to 2 and 4. This will give me a 6. That's our first digit, only 3.5 minutes in. Only. 6 would be 8, would be 4, would be 2. Lovely. Allows me to color a bit more, and we're off and racing. I mean, racing is a bit of an exaggeration, but we're up and running. We've got quite a few digits. Of course, this can't be red anymore because, you know, I would need 2 reds, and I've already placed 3 of them. There's only 4. 1 is the remaining digit, so this has to be blue. 2 and 4 removes the 2, 4 from option from here, so this is 7, 9. This side would be blue. And this is a queen. So if it's 7, I couldn't go to 6, but I can go to 8. And that would be 6. If this is 9, I could go to 6 or 8. So this is not helpful, 6 and 8. So 7 and 9, quite easy to get to 6 and 8. The other option would be 1 and 3, which is also viable. You know, essentially the 7 can go across to a 1, even diagonally across to the 3. 9 can go to both of them. So I can't really limit this one. Unless I know what these digits are. Never mind. Let's see what else do we have in store. Remember how I said bishops can only ever be one parity? Well, look at this cell. That can't be 2, 4, 6, or 8. So that has to be an odd digit, and that means the entire thing is odd digits. 7 and 9 and 3 are all gone. That has to be a 1. Kind of very odd conclusion. That means that this is an odd digit. So this is 7 or 9, because I'm shifting colors. And I can't, you know, I have to stay odd. So I'm essentially going odd, low, odd, high, odd, low again. And this would have to be 1 or 3. Doesn't stop this from being 1 or 3, mind you. But hang on, it is still a bishop. So let's think about this. If this is 1, it has to be 9. I can't get to a 7 without going through the 5. So that is 9. That's back to 1. I can't go to a 3. That's 7, that's 9. That's probably going to limit my options now for this line, knowing that this is a 7. So 7, I could get to 3. It can't be a 1. That could be 3, that could be 1. That's one option. Second possibility is 6 and 8. Although this, I can't get to the 6 because that's a chess knight's move away, not a queen move away. I can get to 8. So that would be 8. That would be 6. That's a complete set of pencil marks now. That can't be a 5. So the remaining digits are 2, 4, 5. That can't be a 5. This is 2 or 4. Can't be a 2. Pawn. If it's a pawn, you need to go invalid pawn moves, essentially going up and down the numpad key. So if it's a 2, the next one along would be a 5, and that's a shifter line. That can't be a 5. So that's a 4. This is a 2, 5 pair. The 4 could be 1 or 7. Actually, no, it can't be because that's blue. That's red. 7 is blue. Doesn't work. That has to be 1. I think that's 7, 9 now. You see, it can't be 1, 3. Can't be 2, 4. Can't be 6, 8. They have to be the same. That's 7, 9. That's blue. Makes this red. Makes this red. This being red, no, I do have a ton of options, but it does make this blue. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Mrs. Sleuth is walking around the house and the dogs are just upset that she's on a different floor. So they keep whining that they need to be next to her. It's cute, but, you know, I can imagine it's irritating sometimes for Mrs. Sleuth. Right, I'm getting distracted. What am I doing here? So that's a king's move. So my options are 2 and 4. And then I'd have to have a digit, a king's move digit. So if this is 2, 4, this would have to be a 1, essentially to be reachable from both the 2 and the 4 in a single move. If this is 6, 8, it would have to be a 9. A 9 is not a red digit and it's not available. That's 1. This is 2, 4. You know, one of the reasons I really enjoy gUBBLOR's puzzles is he creates this fusion of whatever variant that he's focusing on. Today it's chess lines with the shifted lines and equality cages, and they're always an incredible fusion, like showing off the best of both rules. A lot of thought must go into these things. That's not odd. It's not 1, 3, 7, or 9, so that's even. This is 2, 4 here, so that's the 6, 8 even. That's got to be the 2, 4 even. That's red. That's blue. So, can't have a 5 on the pawn, which actually eliminates 2, 5, and 8. Oh, look at that. That's actually a really useful deduction. Is that still visible? Yeah, like still visible. Right. So think about the pawns. I'm taking 2 steps. So essentially, I will always have to go through the middle section. I would go 1, 4 or 4, 7. I would go 2, 5 or 5, 8, 3, 6 or 6, 9. Now, I can't be a 5, so 2, 5, 8 are all eliminated from the combo of pawn and shifter lines. The other possibility is 1, 4, 7, but I would have to have a 4 as the middle digit between them, and I don't have that as an option in either of these cells. So this is a 3, 6, 9 setup. And I can go even better. It's still a shifter line. The 6 means that there is a red digit that's crossing a box. It must be a blue digit, and therefore it can't be the 3. So this is a 6, 9 pair, and that 9 forces this to be a 9, forces this to be a 6. Like, it's almost like proving what I just said about kind of the genius of gUBBLOR in some of these things. Like, if you're familiar with both rules, you can actually complete. It really does feel like you're just coming up with numbers out of thin air. This is 3 or 5, rest of sort of column 6. This is 2, 3, 5. If it's kind of more than 2 digits, I'm not going to pencil mark. Right, so remember I said I like starting at black Kropki dots. Often you'll find in gUBBLOR's puzzles that's a way to break in. But I haven't really thought about this one. I really should think out loud when I'm thinking around. So black Kropki dots, the nature of 2 to 1 means that there is always an even digit. This is not 2 or 4. Also that the knight always oscillates between odd and even. So essentially if you're a 1, you would jump to 6 or 8, kind of odd digit to even or even. If you're a 2, you would go to an odd. And in fact, I'm just kind of looking at this and I'm thinking, ho, 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 ho. Here's another one of these fusions. So think about the 1. In fact, let's talk about all 3 lines now. Forget the black Kropki dot for a second. The black Kropki dot will probably help, but let's forget it. So notice that they're all 2 lines, 2 cells, I mean, per the line, and they're always crossing a kind of dividing line. So they're always going to be both red and blue. Now let's systematically go through the options. If you have a 1, its partners are 6 and 8. They're both red. 1 is not an option. 2 goes to 7 or 9. They're both blue. 2 is not an option. This is getting ridiculous. 3 could go with a 4. The 3 and 4 works. 3 with an 8 doesn't work because they're both red. 4 could go with the 3. Can't go with the 9. 5 is never available on either knight line or shifter line. 6 would go to 1 or 7. 1 doesn't work, so it would have to be 6 or 7. 7 can't go to 2, has to go to 6. 8 can't go to 1 or 3, and 9 can't go to 2 or 4. Wow. So every single one of these is either 3, 4 or 6, 7. This one can't be 3, 4. 4 sees both of these cells. This is a 6, 7 pair. Which one is going to be on the black Kropki dot? 6, 7, 3. Let's keep going. So we have another 3, 4 and another 6, 7. How do I determine what's what? So this can't be. So it could, if this is 3, that would be 4, and that's actually viable. If it's the 6, 7 option, that would have to be 7, and that would have to be 6. So 3, 4, can't be 4, can't be 4. That would be the 3, that would be the 4. 6, 7. Oh, yeah, 6 and 7. That could be the 7, that could be the 6. So we end up with, I was going to say a pair, if I can actually type, a 4, 6 pair and a 3, 7 pair. Wants me to look at row 3 now. We're talking about 2, 4, and 8 are the remaining options. 2 and 4 are not here. No, not 4. 2, 5, and 8. This is 5 and 8. It's not 2 because of this pair of 2s. Does mean that there is a 2 in one of these 2 cells. Can I do anything with these yet? I'm kind of surprised I haven't been able to yet. 7, 9. This is blue anyway, so it's not helpful. This is red. Not helpful. So this is still viably both 6, 8 and... I mean, it is a rook. 6 and 8. Makes 1, 3 very difficult. Sorry, 7 and 9. 7 and 9. Yeah, 1, 3 is totally achievable. And 6, 8 totally achievable. So just ignore what I just said. It's just not true. So one more line we haven't really looked at here, which is the rook. And one thing we haven't really done well in this particular puzzle is Sudoku. 4s, 4. How about more of that, please? 6 forces this to be a 6 because that's the 4 is taken. So 6, 8. 8 gives me 6 up there. Does that force a direction? 6 can only get to 2, can't get to 4. So that's 2, that's 5, that's 2. This is now a 3, 5 pair. Has it given me this cell? Oh, it has given me this. 6 gives me 4, gives me 3, which gives me 6, gives me 7. And this is 2, 5, 8. That can't be an 8 or a 2. That's 5, that's 2, that's 8. 8s and 6s, they're not any of these cells, or this one for that matter. That's a 6, 8 pair. That allows me to write in a digit in here. That's 4. This cell is in here, essentially. That's the other 3, 5. And then I have another 3, 5 and the 7. Can't resolve just yet. This one is none of these cells, none of these cells. Sorry, just awful deduction. It's none of these cells, it's down here. How did I write it there? That was ludicrous. These cells are 1, 5 and 1, 3, 5. Not a 3. These 2 cells are known. They are 9 and something. Well, this can't be the 9. That's the 9. This is something else. 8. 8 gives me 1 and 3 because that can't be 6, 8 anymore. That's the 1, that's the 3 because of this one. That is not 1 or 3. That's a 5. That's a 1. That's a 3. Lovely. These 2 cells are now known. They are 2 and 6, I'm going to say. Yeah, they are resolved. That 6 gives me a 2, gives me a 6, gives me an 8, gives me a 6. Fantastic. Excuse me. Still really avoiding this, so I may as well. Let's see if we can resolve this pair first. Yep, we can. That's a 2. That's a 9. This is 1, 5. Well, the 1 and 5 can't be here. That's a 7. That's a known digit. That's a 9. That means that's a 7 because it's on the shifted line. These are blue. That's red. That can't be a 5, which is the remaining digit. That's 5. That is 1. And yeah, 1, 7, 9. Didn't really need the rook in the end. I think that is all the chess lines done, not this one. Can I? So 1 can't get to 9 with a rook move. So that's 7, that's 9. 3 can't get to a 4 with a king move. So that's a 2, that's a 4, that's a 2, that's a 4. And that's chess lines done. So we're basically just left with a bit of Sudoku. Say basically, but this is a 7. You can see with the 7s all lining up. Can do the 9 next. That's the 9. I need 2, which can only be in here. I need 4, which is one of these cells. It's 4, 8, and 5. 8 is none of these. That's 8. This is a 4-5 pair. That gives me 3 and 5. That gives me 5. This is a 3-7 pair. Not resolved. This is resolved though. That's 1. I need 5, which is placed. I need 3, which is placed. I need 6, which is placed, and 8. I need 3, which I can't place yet. 7, can't place it either. 8 and 9. 9 is placed. That's 9. That's got to be 3. That gives me 7. That gives me 3. That gives me 7. That gives me 8. I need, ignore the 5, 4, and 5, which are at the bottom. We need to find some other digits that help, such as the 1, which is forced. That forces a 4, which gives me the 5 and 4 at the bottom. Then I have 5 and 8, 5, and if I've not made any mistakes, 8 for the finish. Stunning puzzle. Deserves far more attention than the 63 solves in 116 days. Really, really smooth. Although, admittedly, very smooth if you're familiar with the rule sets, as I already mentioned a couple of times. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video. Looking forward to reading your comments. And a quick reminder, subscribe if you haven't. gUBBLOR has created a special for 2,000 subscribers. So please, let's try and actually reveal that puzzle rather than having sitting on a shelf for too long. Bye-bye for now.